Good morning, friends. It's good to see you here on this bright and shining summer day. I want to extend a warm welcome to you. Everyone is welcome here. You are welcome here regardless of your age, your race, or the gender with which you identify. You are welcome here regardless of your income, your educational level, your religion, or your position in society. You are welcome here regardless of who you love or who you vote for. You are welcome here regardless of the regrets that burden you or the mistakes you have made. In this beloved community, we support each other in the sacred task of becoming, celebrate the transcending mystery of life, and rely on the transforming power of love. It is our work to walk with each other along the spiritual pathways that lead towards happiness, compassion, and life fully lived. In this place, we create the structures that lift up the downtrodden, set the captives free, and heal the brokenhearted. Here we have learned to be fully human, that to be fully human is to be fully divine, and that with a little help from our friends, we can tell our own unique stories. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to see you all here. It's been quite a week with the Supreme Court and the Proud Boys down in my neck of the woods in South Bend, and other kinds of activities that are difficult to take in. So let's, before we begin with our announcements, let's take a moment to just sit, to close our eyes and just take a deep breath and exhale and just relax and let the cares and woes of the world for a few minutes or an hour or so settle out. And before we do the affirmation, I would like to add that we have some folks who, they seem like occasional attenders, but they usually attend on Zoom, all the way from Florida. So Susie and Glenn are here. So okay, our affirmation, that's on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And Connor DeGraaf to come on up. Connor, if you would. Connor is a valedictorian of his high school class, and currently has been for the last year and a half or almost 2 years struggling with a brain tumor. So he's a young man who knows what it is to feel and deal with stress. Anyway, we want to give you this, Connor. We'll get over that later. And it's a card from us, all of us, to you. And there's money in it, yes. We also, Harvey also baked a cake for the occasion, and it's in the fridge. And so that cake is something we're going to cut up and eat. Or if you want, you can take it home. You know. So, but at any rate, I'll let you have the podium, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Here you go.
Hello? Okay, there you go. Yeah, it's working. I already did this once, so it's not gonna be that bad. I'd like to say thank you so much. I didn't know that you guys made a cake and got me a card. That's nice. But yes, hold on, give me a second. All right. I wrote this down, but then Jim brought up the brain tumor. They don't exactly know what it is, but I just like to say that, like, going through school, it was, in the moment, it was very scary. And I thought, well, what's the point of going through school if I'm gonna die? So, but then I thought, well, you know, might as well just, like, you know, do it anyway, you know, just for fun. And I think that even though it was scary, it made school better and made life better, because it was like like a wake-up call, and wow, I mean, might as well just live right now, right? Luckily, nothing has changed yet, and I go back in August, yes, for another MRI to see if it has changed size, and if it has, then they have to do a biopsy, and if it hasn't, then I can just keep doing checkups and seeing how it goes. So, but okay, here we go. When I was in school, I noticed a few problems, and of course, there were some positives. But firstly, it was school. So we had to learn. And I went through the motions for many, many years. Well, in my eyes, because I'm only 17. But then I hit 7th grade. And this is the year that I would finally realize how absurd school really was. And we're all kids, you know, varying ages, and we're all learning something that we have no choice in, keep in mind. But then if we make a mistake in doing it, we get an F. Just one little mistake. I can't tell you how many mistakes I made. But then they turn around and tell you that, oh, you know, humans make mistakes. And I understood that, but I didn't really understand why you'd tell me that if I'm a kid and I gotta be perfect. And many kids would say, oh, well, we don't need this, right? You know, we don't need all of this math and all this science. And the teacher would reply, well, of course you do. I mean, it's for your future. But not really explaining why. And I lost my place. But now today, I can say that they are correct. We do need these things. And it is important to do the work. And it is important to power through, even if you don't want to. Even if you don't like doing the work, you might not even use it one day. But they never tell you why. And I believe that we can use this algebra, we can use the physics, we can use the history especially, and many more things. But we're not taught how to use them. And after this, I would try with my 7th grade mind, keep in mind, 7th grade, I don't know what's going on, but to make the perfect system. That's really perfect, but then I figured that like I would be okay, right? And I could get through this through school. But I was worried about all my other peers because, of course, I finished valedictorian, but I still worried about everyone else that didn't even finish or that couldn't get to where I was because of the way that it was all structured. And it does take a skill to, you know, work your way through something, even if it doesn't make any sense. But that's when I decided that I wanted to teach. And there were many teachers that inspired me and got me through it, because I realized that it wasn't just, you know, how the school was built and all the nuances and all the little things, but the teachers really helped. Because if it was the right teacher and they knew how to just work their magic, when I was a little kid, I don't know what's going on, but if they knew how to do what they were doing, you'd get pretty far and you were motivated again. So some examples of the teachers that inspired me were my Spanish teacher, Mr. DeGraaf, who changed my passion from math to language. And Mr. Hicks, who was so kind, but always picked on me. Always. Middle class, did not matter. But I knew that it made me a, let's say, tougher person. It made me more mature, because when I was in my freshman year, I was a goof, and I'm still a goof, but I'm more organized. And Miss Jeffries, who helped me to adjust to a whole new school. I knew nobody there. And due to these amazing individuals, I want to be just like them and to help other students that truly need it. Because, and also support the ones that may be doing good, but maybe they're just not all there, you know, because I've been there. Even at the top of my class, we've all been there. And I want to make sure that kids can do their best, even if it's not enough. And if any of you guys would like to talk about, you know, the system that I made up in 7th grade, or especially languages, ooh, I could talk for hours. And or any of my teachers, I would love to talk or hear what you would like to say. And that's it.
Thank you, Connor. How many people here have a teacher that made a difference in their lives? Everybody. Yeah, okay. Important job you're going into, Connor. Hope I live long enough to see some of it. Yeah, okay. Well, let's, and if you want to.
All right, good morning. So the three of us ladies met up last week and kind of talked about what to do, and it actually came together really quickly, which was nice, and was kind of stress-free. Actually, I felt like putting this together. Yeah, we were on the beach. We decided to do it on the beach to add to the managing our stress. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little experiment. Often when we have these kind of stressful feelings and stuff, we also often want to manage them. We want to control them. We want to make them go away. We want to avoid them, all those sorts of things. But really one of the best things that we can do when we're experiencing stress or worry is to actually really acknowledge it and get to know it. So that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to befriend our stress. So Catherine's handing out like a little sheet, and you can just kind of hold on to that for a minute. And then after we fill out the sheet, we're going to do a little experiment with some Play-Doh. But the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to kind of do a little, kind of like a little meditation, mindfulness kind of thing to kind of get in touch with our stress. Okay. And you're welcome to close your eyes if you want. You can keep them open, whatever you're most comfortable with. And just maybe take a couple little breaths, just kind of settle in your seat. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to approach and interact with our stress from a place of wonder and curiosity. No judgment. Judgments might come up. They probably will. But if they do, just say, oh yeah, I'm judging myself on that, and just let it be. So the first thing I want you to do is to maybe think of one or two things, or maybe 50 things that are stressing you out. Or for kids, maybe it's something that you worry about. Could be somebody that you know that maybe is sick. Could be maybe time that you know that you're going to be away from family. Could be learning something new that's hard. So think about something maybe that makes you feel worried or stressed, okay? And just kind of identify that and kind of name that inside yourself. Now, from this place of curiosity and wonder, one of the ways I like to think about this is kind of think about it like if you're watching your stress, like you would watch a baby playing, or you're watching your stress like you would watch like an animal in the wild. Like you come into the woods, walking down a path, and all of a sudden there's like a deer there, and you get to just stand there and watch it. So you're coming from this place of curiosity and wonder. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, cool. So the first thing I want you to do with your stress, once you kind of see it there or feel it inside of yourself, is to actually welcome it and thank it for coming. Catherine, can I get one of those sheets? Oh, she's printing more? Okay. Thank you. Okay, I just want one to hold on to so I make sure I go through things. Okay. So we're welcoming our stress in. We're thanking it for coming. And we're going to ask it a few questions. So take a second just to notice your stress. Stress can show up in many ways for us. It can show up in our body with feelings and sensations. It can show up in the way that we act, the way that we move through our day, and it can show up in our thoughts. So I want you to ask your stress, how does it show up for you? And just take notice of that. Is it maybe a headache? Is it maybe feeling tired? Is it maybe rushing through things too quickly or avoiding things? Is it a thought? Maybe, I can't do this. This is too much. So just take notice of how your stress shows up in your body, in your actions, and in your thoughts. Now take a second to ask your stress, how does it affect you? How does it affect the way that you see yourself? Because it does. Once you feel like you've had your questions answered by your stress, once you kind of take a second to notice it, I want you to kind of notice if it has any sort of shape or form or color to it. Just kind of be curious with it. A sensation. And now we're going to bid goodbye to our stress for a second. And we're going to move into our kind of creative part of this. But before we leave our stress, it's very important that we actually thank our stress for interacting with us. Thank your stress for any information that it gave you. Give it some compassion. Let it know that you're aware of it and that you know that it's there actually to help you. Our stress is actually there to help us. It's there to show us things that are important to us. It's there to protect us. So take a second to give some gratitude to your stress and thank it for coming and interacting with you today. And when you're ready, you can kind of write down anything that you noticed or observed. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play, because it's always fun to take our stress or anything that's hard and challenging and to approach it from a place of play. And so Rachel has awesomely made us tons of awesome salt dough. So she's gonna come around and we're gonna hand that out. There's lots of different colors. I haven't seen the salt dough yet, but I know there's lots of different colors. And I'm gonna ask you to make a sculpture of your stress. And you can make that any way you want. You can interpret that any way you want. And it could be like how you experience it physically in your body. So it could just be like a weird spiky blob. It could be like something that like is all encompassing, like maybe you put yourself in the middle, however you experience that stress, and try to make it into a shape, into a form. And we have lots of doughs. And then the thing, you guys can get up and do that. I'm just going to kind of talk while you're doing that. Is that okay? Yeah, there's dough in the back. You can go back there, and once you're ready, and get a little glob of dough. You don't have to. If you want to just stay with your writing and just write some things, that's fine too. This is really just an exercise to get to know your stress. There should be plenty of salt dough back there for everybody. You got some? What's up, bud? You got your stress and worries? What's your stress and worries? You got an idea? What is it? What's up? Mad? What's something that you feel stressed with? Can you make a sculpture of it? Can you make a shape of it? Or just make whatever you want. Ooh, oh, it feels great. Yeah, sometimes it just feels good to just move it in your hand. The energy of it, like the dough. It's really nice, soft dough. Good job, Rachel. Nice colors. Does it? Oh, okay. Does it smell good? It smells like Play-Doh. So one of the things I was going to say, if while you're making your sculpture, is that because this is salt dough, this is one of those things where like you could save it and let it dry out and like live with it for a while in your house. But then when you feel like you're ready to kind of let that stress go a little bit, is you can put it outside somewhere, not like by like any sort of plant that means anything to you because it's salt, so it would hurt the plant, but you can put it outside and let it deteriorate and let it like melt away and kind of observe it. So that's another thing you can do with your sculpture. Huh? No, that's okay. You can make a rainbow. It doesn't, that's, whenever I do this kind of stuff, I always say it's a suggestion. You can really do whatever you want. Is it like all the colors mixed together? Oh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. All right, well, I hope you guys all enjoyed playing with your stress and befriending it a little bit. I guess the only thing I want to say on it is that really the first step with any challenging emotion is to do this, is to acknowledge it, to observe it from like a non-judgmental place, and to realize that it's there because it's trying to help you in some way, even if it doesn't feel like it. And to try to approach it from a place of play is sometimes like the gentlest way to do it so that you're not judging yourself. So hopefully you guys all kind of had some fun. And we wanted to let you guys know, I think there's still a lot of dough back there. And I brought some baggies. So like if anybody wants to put their dough in a baggie and take some extra with them, they're welcome to. And I'm going to give it back to Jim.
I see some very interesting stuff out there. This is time. My stress is time, not a dumbbell. So I hope not. So anyway, thank you, Holly and Rachel and Catherine, for that lovely intergenerational activity. Did anyone else want to hold up a project they've done? I see that Leanne had a very artful looking project. Oh, the rainbow. Yeah. And I should mention that Holly is an art therapist, so she knows a lot about stress and art and translating your inner dynamics to something you can hold in your hand. So we appreciate that. And also, I'd like to say that all three, Rachel, Catherine, and Holly, are experts at stress. So, so at any rate, I'm going to, I have a short sermon I'm going to read. Keep working on your project if you want. If you want to change your stressor, by all means, please do that. And let me see if I can find the right place. Okay. So I have noticed that summer is a stressful time for many people. The kids are home from school. The calendar is full of picnics, softball games, family reunions, summer weddings, graduations, and such. Plus, the lawn needs to be mowed, the gardens need to be tended, blueberries and strawberries need to be picked and made into jams, and your retired neighbor is again being quite generous with advice about how you could have a much better lawn if only you would just use a little fertilizer, even though you have told them like 20 times that you do not believe in using chemicals on your lawn. Anyway, the main idea behind this sermon is dealing with summertime stress, or really any kind of stress. And I appreciate the intergenerational activity, and also really appreciate what Connor said about that line he used. I don't know if I'm going to get it quite right, but why bother with all this if I'm going to die anyway? So that's actually, you aren't the first thinker who has come up with that idea to throw yourself into life, irregardless of the fact that for life is temporary for all of us. So this story is an old Zen story, and a friend of mine, Beth Lefevre, who some of you know. How many know Beth? A few people here, yeah. She was the minister here a while back, and she reminded me of this old Zen parable that gives advice on dealing with stress. Once upon a time, there was a man who, while out for a stroll, encountered a hungry tiger. The man turned and ran for his life. In his mad dash, the man did not notice that he was running towards a cliff, which he tumbled over. Unfortunately, he was able to grab onto a sturdy vine on the way down and stop his fall. Much to his dismay, he looked up and saw the tiger waiting for him to climb up the vine and become the tiger's dinner. Even more disturbing, when he looked down, he saw another hungry tiger waiting to snack on him from below. The man observed that the vine was quite sturdy, and while he could not be comfortable, he believed he could hang on for a very long time. This is when he noticed a small hole at the base of the vine from which two mice, one white and one black, exited and began to chew on the vine. As the vine began to weaken and was about to give way, he noticed a small strawberry plant growing close to his position on the side of the cliff. On the plant was a ripe strawberry. He plucked the strawberry, put it in his mouth, and chewing it slowly to savor its tastiness, said out loud, "How wonderfully delicious." Now that's the end of the story, because of course this is a Zen story. So let's unpack the story a bit. Like all stories, the different characters in the story represent elements of our own psyches, parts of ourselves, which are parts of ourselves. Hence, this sermon is titled, Tigers Are Us. The tigers represent death, what the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard called finitude. Whatever you think about death, there seems little doubt that your material dimension will die. You may be skeptical that death is a part of your physical and spiritual makeup. If so, I ask you to consider that your body is composed of billions of molecules, atoms, and subspecies of organisms that have been, perhaps millions of times over, been parts of the bodies of countless plants and animals that have all died. Also consider that many ancient societies enacted their myths literally by practicing human sacrifice in recognition that life comes from death. Christianity, in Christianity, life for the believer comes from the death of Jesus. Death is a fundamental part of who you are. Death is so much in our physical and psychological makeup that Kierkegaard suggested that one should enroll in the school of dread. Dread is shorthand for anxiety, experienced over one's impending death, our death anxiety. Kierkegaard felt that by embracing that anxiety and really letting it settle in, that we could learn to live much more freely. The mice, one black and one white, represented another dimension of our human nature, and in fact, the nature of all spiritual and physical reality. All being, it seems, is expressed in the interplay of light and dark. You only need to look inward to verify this. In an honest appraisal, you will see that you are the Hindu god Shiva incarnate, the destroyer and the creator of worlds. The black and white mice are creator and destroyer natures, are the raw stuff out of which we make ourselves. The strawberry is the punchline of the story. It is best to live and be attentive to this now and savor this experience of being alive. Even the stressful parts are important to this now, as Holly and Rachel and Catherine so aptly pointed out. If you are able to embrace the stress as well as the pleasure, the darkness as well as the light, life will become more delicious and you will become a much more compassionate person as you observe other people struggling with their own light and dark and often failing, as we sometimes do ourselves. It is my particular opinion that embracing all of life requires a bit of spiritual discipline. A spiritual discipline is anything that helps us return to a communion with the ground of being. Any creative activity facilitates this communion. It can be any creative effort, such as writing a poem, planting your garden, changing a diaper, organizing a closet, running for office, scientific experimentation, or just falling into a deep sleep. Spiritual disciplines also include the usuals like prayer, meditation, and contemplation, etc. Anything that temporarily pulls you into your ground, anything that shuts the ego off for a few seconds or a few hours, opens the channels to the hidden structures that support us and allow us to embrace life with a refreshed attitude and the solutions to life's sticky and stressful situations. The existentialist philosopher Martin Heidegger had a very helpful notion. He thought that being truly alive requires a kind of faith in one's right now life. He realized that the culture structures we use to create ourselves and our places in society will someday be as outmoded as stone axes are video cassette recorders. He suggested we embrace all of it anyway, even the stressful parts, even death. Heidegger might say, yes, my culture self is a collage of human constructs that are relative, time-constrained, conditional, and are already at least partially obsolete. Yet I am going to embrace it all. I'm going to throw myself into life and make my life meaningful in spite of all the tenuousness and uncertainties. It is the meaning that we create when we do this that carry us through life and deliver us to death having truly lived. To be authentic and truly alive is the best antidote for stress. We play all the parts. We are the tiger of death, and we are also the sweet strawberry of life well lived. And with that, let's move to our final hymn. Would you come and blow the candle out, the chalice out, Felipe? And I will find the correct word. Even though we extinguish this chalice, its warm flame glows gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place, and may it guide us until we are together again. Thank you, Felipe. And now